Yeah. Yeah.
Luck- Lucky you.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Breaking Wind Dialogues.
Oh, Mumbles, is that you? My
Yeah,
God.
this is me. This is me. This is your host that likes to coast, Mumbles Undertone McFlurry Breath. And I'm joined by my graciously flowing brother from another mother, the ghost of Retardica.
Good gravy, gosh almighty. Good golly, Miss Molly. Is this
Yeah,
good or is this folly? Should I
I
take
don't
the
know.
train or grab the trolley?
Oh, it's funny that you mentioned trains.
Oh,
Um,
no.
I'd like to start off today's dialogue by discussing not only some of the parallels between Eastern mysticism and Western science, but also discuss the narrow tracked parallelogram that we have been railroaded both onto and into vis-a-vis the Reading railroad monopoly money tracks and the interstate highway system of commerce that we all seem to regrettably serve with purposes unbeknownst to us.
I like how you did that. Choo choo! All aboard the Mumbles train!
See what happens when I write things down?
Fucking
Um,
love it. It sounds great. It sounds like you're in the double digits now, baby.
oh yeah.
Let's put some
So,
coal. Let's put some coal in the engine. Fire this fucker up.
oh yes. So, well, I'd like to explore where these road energies and the river currents go, and what's the final destination that the energy is being transported to, funneling into a tower of power busyness center where energies are extracted and exchanged, intimately tied in direct correspondences to the human body and the chakra system. The Book of Changes is a book that has grown organically and contains many layers that unpeel the 64 hexagrams, which all consists of 6 lines, either broken yin or unbroken yang, forming an 8 by 8 magic cube contains 64 cells. Reading these lines may be considered the same as a road map. Each road has a story and a name and intersections and interferences. Certain street names go into other streets and in their relative towns and hamlets, all with their own given names, settling along riverbanks and harnessing the energy from the ground. The ground is a conductor, conducting a symphony of nature before our eyes with a vision that has been clouded in many ways, mostly by parallel lines. We could try to copy nature with use of non-Euclidean geometry, but no single part of the whole can grasp that what is the fingerprint of God's creation until we have a bird's eye view with over the topographical situation. Um, so I'm comparing the fingerprint of God to our topographical maps.
Well, you've thrown us right into the middle of where we are.
Yeah.
Can
Well,
you?
that's just the
Can
tip of
you?
it.
Oh,
That's
the
just
tip.
yeah. So now where the ground, the ground is a conductor conducting. We are the inductees, or the inductive motive force, creating the charged feedback to mother. We are the cosmic force between the ether and the hot lead that is the earth. The ground wire contains all the electricity feeding a circuit that, until grounded, it's dead. The circuitry is not just a supply, it is also the feedback data on how much heat energy is being consumed to bill you accordingly to keep us up with exchanging gases. The open atmospheric vault acts as a ground, giving the proper potential differential that allows current to flow. The energy coming off of the masts and temples and antennas act as dual transmitter receivers that collect and transmit the collected subtle energy. This is in direct correspondence to the energy chakra systems within the human field. There are 7 major chakra systems, each with its own double funnel energy receiver and transmitter. This is similar to the comparison of electron flow versus the conventional theory. Energy is being exchanged and flows from both positive to negative, negative to positive, hot to cold, cold to hot, red to blue, blue to red. The ancient texts tell us that there are at least 144,000 chakras in the body, with only 7 being major enough to affect the others surrounding it. The chakra energy system has, is cause and effect like our systematic spending and our quantitative easing. The roads are made of black tar, suitable for the hot rats to race about, creating heat for the sun. Human energy is collected and fed up through the atmosphere, where it all compiles, collects, and burns itself clean. Clean and fresh for the ideas and visions of tomorrow through the rainbow spectrum of light that we both feed on and from. Then I kind of start tangering off into some music stuff, which I don't know if we need to get into. But then to sum it up, it's no wonder that the kanji character for time is a square within a square.
Yeah.
And one of the spellings is just the letter E for time.
Okay. Wow, man. You just served up like all the courses.
Hot spoonful. It's a hot spoonful.
Hot spoonful.
I don't know if any of it's right.
Well, what's to say what's right and wrong when you're in the land of observation, speculation, and imagination?
Yeah.
Everything's on the table, and it's up to who's listening to what you're putting out there to sort of cross-reference it with what they have seen, despite even what they have been told or educated.
Yeah.
So let's chop this 20-course meal up into sections.
Yeah.
Lest we
a lot to digest.
So I think what we should do first is share the menu. Well, maybe we should tell them what restaurant they're in first.
Well,
meaning a general overview of I don't know if this is the right way to put it, but the case that you're building. You're giving an overall explanation, a diagrammatic explanation of how energy flows in the system that we live in, and tying in the transportation infrastructure as well as our role as conduits to take and have energy taken from.
Yeah.
We're an integral part of this circuit. And so you're telling me that it's not just about getting a cool car and drinking beer and accidentally making some lady pregnant.
Yeah, no, there's definitely more.
There's
There's
more
more
to
to it
it
than
than
that.
that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, that's news to me.
I hope this news finds you well.
Well, I'm flabbergasted. Who's ever conceived of such notions? My God. When I go to church and I sing the hymns as directed by the man in the robe up front,
Yeah.
who could suggest that my energy is being taken from me and redirected in some way through the steeple out into the atmosphere, no less, and then back in?
Yeah, it's going both ways.
We need, which I love, the double funnel, because it
Yeah.
makes me think of the what you're talking about, the chakras. I never thought about it. You said something to the effect of 144 other minor
144,000.
144,000
Yeah,
minor
yeah.
chakras,
But
which
some of like the Indian texts say like there's like 300 million of them. You know, like it's the numbers are all over the place, kind of like the diameter of the sun type of thing.
well, there's more than a couple.
Yeah, there's more than
And
that. There's seven
and
major. Yeah.
it's just a matter of how different cultures will quantify it and divvy it up and categorize it. So the point being, it reminds me of the acupressure and acupuncture points in the body, and also something I've always thought about is the intersection of the ley lines. Long before I started questioning the model of the system that we live in, whether it's spherical or layered and whatnot. So these ley lines, where they intersect, could that be similar to these double funnel micro chakras throughout the body, where
Yeah. I mean, if it's an intersection, yeah, I would say that could be
that would be the
at
hot
least a
spot?
connection, between, because all of these chakras are related and connected to each other. So you could go to the root to the head, probably 1,000 different ways.
Sure, and
Some
that
roads are going to be more direct than others.
and that would that yeah, to increase or impede efficiency depending on what serves your motive best.
Right.
And when you break down circuitry, it's easy to understand that it starts from source and goes back to source, and anyone can understand that, even through the imagery of the Ouroboros or something like that. Then when you get into impedance or resistance and capacitors and different ways to control or interrupt or enhance the flow,
Yeah.
all of these models seem to inform each other while describing exactly the same thing. Even the Kabbalah, the Kabbalah tree of life, you can see the circuitry built in there, and you can overlay that on top of chakras and use that as your map or model and it seems that I guess the Kabbalistic, would it be the Hasidic communities? I'm not sure. Use this model to control flows of economies and also narratives. Our old friend Kevin Janik has boxed himself into a model that has explained exactly what we're all boxed into, and you can follow it from here to there.
Yes.
And just measure the supposed bars of the prisons, but following the circuitry to one's own delight or demise. Yeah. So you're saying that the not topography. What's the word for it? The layout of an infrastructure, for example, the layout of a city, most obvious ones being Washington, D.C., where you can see these geometric patterns and whatnot. Would that be a good, or the star forts? Is this a good place to start to kind of explain how the development of railroads and electrical infrastructure would it would be beneficial to someone to expand and manipulate this system of chakras and electrical circuitry? Is that a question? I don't know if that's a question.
I don't know if that was a question, but what do you want to just try and make more comparison between the body and like a city town, a city,
Well, yeah. So, okay, if we're going to take the restaurant, let's define the restaurant we're in. We're in an energy system, and now we're looking at the menu of how this energy system operates, the different courses of the meals. Let's start. Let's start with a general idea of what the menu is. And then let's start with the appetizer. lead us into. Give us a general overview, and then start with first things first, and give us an idea of what's to come, in the sense of, obviously you can build a town in a city, and before there was asphalt roads and things like that, there was some sort of infrastructure that was being built, and then for example, something that would be after the.
Hello.
Oh fuck! Can you hear me?
No, you're back.
You can't hear me? All right. So the super salad being the benefit of laying down railroad tracks, for example, from one city to another. What would be the benefit of that?
Well, it's like the old age saying goes, where attention goes, energy flows. So they're they want to just it's the means. The end is to is justifying the means, basically. So like they're just building to build. They'll try to like use rivers and natural bodies of water to their advantage where they can. But when we're getting to like these vast open spaces, what better conduit than the actual steel rail that goes from one end of the country to the other end of the country, and you're basically transporting all of your goods, and everybody that's on aboard has energy, and they're able to collect the charge in motion, and you're basically just moving energy around.
So efficient. We're moving different kinds of energy here. So we're using like the human resource
Yeah, the human resource, the human extraction model would be like railroads and the roads and airplanes, and then like nature's version of that would be basically the rivers and the lakes and the bodies of water and the rainfall, that type of stuff.
Oh, and that beautifully ties in with what we see in the skies and the power generation plants and the narratives that aren't exactly forthcoming with uh, why they make the decisions that they do to move this energy around. So that's very interesting too.
Yeah, like they don't really again, it's like they're just serving the system unknowingly. Like
Sure.
they think it's a requirement for them to make a living or earn money and pay for everything. But there's other ways to live life. I don't think we need to be pursuing paper money.
No, I mean that's going to be the carrot you put in front of the railroad workers to get them to lay the track to move to build the arteries to move the blood, so to speak.
Yeah.
But these in a system where we have an entity known as New York and an entity known as, say, Chicago, and these two entities are separated, maybe 200, I don't know, a while ago. The benefit of connecting these two things together is there, like, atmospheric harvesting of atmospheric electricity or energy from the ground, or just what we call electrical energy. Besides the monetary benefit that runs economies, what would you say is the benefit of harvesting and storing and distributing this energy, or is it purely economic?
Well, I think a lot of this is not just like an economic rat race that we're stuck in, but this is also the only material plane of existence for the soul to basically live out and have experiences.
Trapped on
So,
a circuit.
yeah, we're here trapped on a circuit, trying to, whether we're all, fractals of the whole, where the whole is just trying to get as much perspective as possible, or if we're all, at some level of individuals, which, I think we are all tied together to some degree. But we also act as though we're independent.
Well, we come from the same source. We're operating off the same fuel source, so to speak. And
right, we're all getting the same. The broadcast is all coming out of the same radio station. It's like different channels. Like Z100. Like the 3 or 4 radio stations are all like broadcasts are all out of the same radio station. So
right.
different,
So that
but how your body's attuned is based off of what you're going to be picking up. Like the receiver end is doing work based off of what information it wants to receive. You could either dwell in the bad or be
right.
dancing in the goodness.
Well,
to you.
And that's going to be completely subjective to, well, not subjective, but customized to your own experience and how you digest it. Even things that happen that are negative to you or perceived as negative, that's actually an informative process. You're getting feedback from the outside environment that you're contributing something that's not harmonizing. And so it tends to be useful to stay in a state of mind where when you're getting negative feedback from the outside, to challenge yourself to not just knee jerk to the reaction, but look at what you're bringing to the situation, kind of fine tune the double funnel and see how you can, well, I don't know if this is the right word, kind of ground the situation or neutralize the situation or complete the circuit. The circuit is misfiring. If there's anger involved, the opposite, I guess, of anger or resistance would be, flow or love. And so you're most efficient when you're letting the flow go through you with the least amount of resistance. Not loving in the sense that anyone can kick you in the balls and you're going to giggle it off. But maybe you shouldn't have been standing there.
Yeah.
running your trap. But so this works. This scales onto all levels, and then there's this mechanical level that expresses itself through our imagination to our physical behavior, and then there's you sort of reverse it and look the other way, and you can see the connection to the natural. You can see the natural source of where it's coming from.
Right.
Yeah, right. And then each individual, even though we come from the same force, each individual seems to get kind of pinched off like a piece of fruit, and you're like a lemon. I always think of as like a battery, or fruit is like a battery, self-contained unit, and you kind of fall off the tree, and then you're on your own to, I guess, feed the situation or spread your seed.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and then there's a little more to expand on. Like each one of these roads or rivers or sections of railroad track, they're all named and labeled, and I'm trying to figure out. I'm sure it's like everything else, is a reciprocal relationship where the connotation of the name is being energized, or vice versa. If we all reside in the town of, I was talking with or chatting on Exit Times video. I forget which video, but I was talking about, and living on Long Island, you have towns or the hamlets within the towns, right? Some of the hamlets are, the names are very telling. Like Long Island specifically, a lot of Native American, quote unquote. But when you get into the towns, you have like the town of Babylon. You have like the town of Hempstead. Then like some of the streets, like there's Jericho Turnpike, Babylon Turnpike. There's just so many. North Jerusalem, Jerusalem Avenue. Like why are these names, or why are these things being labeled with those names?
They must embody some characteristic or some story or some meme, so to speak. That carries a charge that even when you repeat it, unbeknownst to the speaker or the listener, there's a reinforcement of whatever that charge is.
Right. You enforce that. You reinforce it all the time by using your address and all of this systematic lines that they laid out for us.
Wow, this is amazing. Thank you for writing all this down, because this has really directed the flow. help us.
If I could type faster, I would have a lot more. But
well, you know, baby steps.
yeah,
Little baby steps.
I need to get that software that I could just talk into the thing and it writes it down.
Yeah, I've tried it. I've played with it. It's tricky because you kind of have to
Proofread as you go.
well, proofread as you go, but you have to kind of manipulate the way that you speak. So if you have a certain cadence to your voice, you might have to change it so that you know the word fart is recorded appropriately and not
Yeah.
as fort, because
Yeah.
then a star fart or a store fart is quite different than a star fort.
Yeah.
While
Yeah.
embracing some of the same technology in gas manipulation, the the connotation is somewhat muddied and confused.
Yeah.
Well, this
So you think you keep mentioning the star forts. I mean, I think that star forts have to be some sort of epicenter for power, kind of like a fortress or a kingdom or, like how today we have, skyscrapers, just like, mega energy centers. So
it's gotta be that, and it has to be related to power generation in one form or another. It's taking some kind of ionized charge out of the ground, or it's some sort of hot spot in relation between what's under the ground and what's in the
right.
atmosphere above.
Yeah.
And
So
then
they're placing something on top of the ley line, and then they're naming that energy, then and directing that energy into that name.
and it must have been, practiced and a proven method that garners results. Otherwise, it wouldn't be continued to be used for such a long period of time. I'm assuming it's a long period of time because it does take a while to build and destroy a city. And these cities that have been around a while, say like Vatican City or London, seem to have these shapes encapsulated within one another, like nested in one another. You'll have a star fort shape
Yeah, yeah.
in
Star within a star. Yeah.
in a larger one, and the
Yeah.
larger one seems to be I don't know. I guess the newer one would be at the center, and then it kind of expands out. So, maybe not too long ago, these things were up and running and efficiently harnessing what we call electricity today, but maybe in the past it was just kind of a given. It wasn't like light bulbs and computers, but more of an energetic force that you immersed yourself in your daily life.
Yeah.
You know,
And the geometry has a lot to do with it. If what was I going to say? Check out fuck.
Check out fuck. Fuck. That's what I have.
Shit. What was I going to say?
Well, I was babbling about the star forts. You were talking about the railroads the last time you were going at it, and laying each part of the rail having an identification number or categories, some method of categorization.
Yeah.
And star forts and energy generation on ley lines. Is any of that ringing a bell?
No.
Well,
No.
let me just throw some more mud in those waters while you try to still them.
Yes.
Because I'm your friend. What about the idea of blood sacrifice on altars at locations at certain times when these intersections of channels or ley lines might be activated? The power of blood in the body and expanding on that idea, like what is the equivalent of the blood? I know we've said seawater before, but blood seems to have some sort of significance in the manipulation of energy.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we're the blood, basically. We are the blood.
We are the encapsulations. We're big blood bags. We're blood banks.
We're just big cells.
Well, check this out. Every time there's a popularized event that's put before us, say like a 9/11/2001 type thing, there's a big drive to collect blood. Anytime, and these events seem to have been represented in one way, where upon a little investigation, it seems that maybe blood would not be needed for what they would say it's needed for. So,
not for what they say, but they're using it.
Yeah, but exactly. Yeah. So when you need to motivate people to give blood, even the infrastructure, the hospital infrastructure that we have, when I would still go to those places when I was younger, 20 years ago, they would take, one vial test tube of blood. Yes. And now they'll take well over a pint out of you.
Yeah. And they say it's for like testing or something, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of testing going on.
Send one here, send one there. But if you ever actually prepare a slide, you could fucking, one of them vials, you could prepare 1,000 fucking slides. Like, so what are you fucking testing for? What are you, they just send it through like their little fucking machines and
well, that's the question, and we could even maybe tie in cannibalism into this infrastructure as well. But what? Since we're in the realm of speculation, and this is the Breaking Wind dialogues, and we're just talking here.
Yeah.
A lot of I see blood drives in my neighborhood constantly.
Yeah.
In less than hospital grade cleanliness conditions. Drive by vans with some pretty dysfunctional people that are poking holes in you and taking your blood, carting it away, or these big worldwide popularized events like 9/11, and there's a blood drive. Where does this? That's a lot of blood. Then plus daily, all this blood being taken out of people. What? Yeah. Where is this blood going? What is the purpose?
That's the $1 million Dolph Lundgren cologne question.
God damn.
They're definitely. It's an energy extraction. If it's like the proverbial vampire, it's.
See, the narrative, I think, is what separates us from the reality. The popularization and the goriness of like zombie movies and vampire movies and that sort of mythology, I think is put there to entertain and put a veil in between the actuality. I can imagine for sure drinking. I've heard in lore of the past that drinking the blood of your enemies gives you the characteristics of your enemy so that you can overpower them.
Yeah.
That probably doesn't come from nowhere.
I'm sure it's true to some degree, like you are what you eat type of thing.
You are what you eat, man. And so anyway, and that's been popularized. I don't know about popularized, but it's that technique of in imbibing in the blood of one's enemies comes from a certain group of people that has gone under different kinds of labels and names, but they're not well liked. They're not well-liked people, and they're often run out, as the story goes, run out of the cities that they create. And it seems that these cities are epicenters for herding people together so that you can take the energy, also in the form of blood, out of them. maybe you need mass quantities of blood to perform certain rituals to keep these energies flowing in the direction you want them to go. Like maybe to run the railroad system, you need X amount of fucking blood.
Yeah. And in order to get, like, current to flow, you need X amount of garbage to make X amount of landfills to, initiate that flow.
Wow, that's true too, man. There's no denying that.
They change the topography of things to direct the flow of all the rainwater that's collected and everything else. So.
And another thing is the sewage system.
Yeah.
Like I love talking
down the river. Yeah.
I love talking about the things that come out of my ass, and I've considered myself a relatively healthy person. And the things that have come out of my ass, from parasites to rocks to just the stench alone, I conveniently just push a little lever, and these things magically whisk away. There's a whole lot of that stuff supposedly going off into one or another facility to be filtered, and there must be some benefit of what's coming out of there.
It's all fucking methane, they just they make this natural gas out of our recycled fucking wastewater.
Which is admirable, which confuses me. Why not just brag about that? We're taking your shit and we're turning it into useful fuel. It's like, that's the way it should be.
Yeah, well, they don't want people to realize where the energy's coming from. They don't want to realize, once you have that self-realization that you're powering yourself, you're basically
that's why. Yeah. Because then you just do it yourself. You would just shit out a few logs, let them dry out, and throw them on the hearth and cook dinner for the kids.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. That is true, because there's nothing but self-empowerment involved with that, and a lot of what YouTube has given itself away, because there's obviously an agenda piggybacked on all of these entertaining cat videos and whatever else that we've grown up with over the past, like 10 or 15 years. YouTube, maybe 10 years. Yeah. The infrastructure that piggybacks on that sort of entertainment is a militarized style control over information, and it reaches a certain level, you just kind of pull it back in. So I got lost, but that's sort of tied in to, like, spreading the stories, spreading the information, and then pulling back in is related to transportation and the building of cities as well. Like, the cities are big film sets. They're big real life action play sets. They're plays. We're living in.
You're planting, and they're planting actual seeds too at the same time. Like when they go and create a conflict in a region, you create some conflict, and then that, whatever kin or young people grow up, in that environment is going to have a certain, their own channel, I guess.
Well, how about this, man? Just to bring it back into the blood, like what's the deal with the blood, and manipulating the channels, flows. Maybe the point, not what they're doing with the blood. They might just be taking the blood out of you and just dumping it. Getting the good stuff out of it, but just dumping it just to leave you sort of depleted.
Yeah, well, they're probably, they take the blood, they put it in their centrifuges, and they extract, whatever they want, or perhaps they're just looking. They're looking for something, and they figure, hey, if we keep advertising blood drives, sooner or later somebody with some, typo negative is going to fucking come in here.
Yeah, I don't even give them credit for analyzing it that well. It seems to be just such a fucking shit show. But what do I know?
Yeah,
It's fun. It's just so strange that everything that they say that they're doing has this completely hidden actuality, and at times I wonder if the actuality, like you were saying about the lungs, uh, in 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 their heart of hearts, like they're actually trying to do the right thing by telling a little white lie that perhaps gets a little bit out of control.
yeah,
And the lie grows. See, that's why I don't subscribe to lying, because it just metastasizes into, recycling feces into fuel, and you have to keep it under wraps for too long, and it implodes.
yeah,
This is what the whole system is based on deception, but it seems to run at its best times. It seems to run incredibly efficiently.
yeah. Well, it's chaotic, but it still works.
I wonder. I mean,
That's what it's all about. Is just making order out of chaos, and that's what our minds are doing. But
but then it tends to fetishize chaos and almost make it a necessary part of the recipe. Where
yeah, it's a necessary evil. We have to have chaos, and to make order out of it.
but
Otherwise, what are we going to do?
but I mean, the people who actually generate more chaos than is necessary, and then create these problems, and then point to the problems they create, and then blame, well, basically blame the victim.
Yeah.
That's the danger, the dysfunction there. And I think that's what like you and I, like I said, we're tailgating at the party. We showed up even before the Coliseum was built. Nobody knows why we're here. And it's because we're not getting as often getting stuck in the glue trap of the narratives, and we can kind of entertain and speculate and move on without, you know, making flat Earth T-shirts and
Yeah.
annoying the fuck out of our friends and family.
Buy me a math Powerland photo or painting T-shirt for the low price of $67.50.
Is it $67.50?
Yeah, it's up there. It's up there.
The value just keeps going up.
Yeah, the most expensive T-shirt you own. It's gonna be the fucking.
It's great. It's a privilege to be able to chew through this stuff and digest it so quickly that we show up long before the party ever starts. But
well, yeah, I mean, I think they're
because what
I mean these things are not new that we're discussing. I think they're just been hidden and alluded to, and because of our inbreeding, we just get dumber every fucking year. So we're just not picking up on all the breadcrumbs that they left for us.
And surely when the character of John Kennedy had his melon split open, certainly there were people around that time that was like, oh, what? I didn't even look. There must have been people, but it's such a small minority that it's built into the cost of doing business, and it just kind of, you never hear about them. You never hear about the people who were skeptical of the moon landing. We're just taught we're taught to believe that everybody was all fucking gung ho and excited about going to space. And of course, they'd been primed by the televisions and whatnot. I'm sure 95% of the population just went along with it because that's what we do. But the 5% just winds up on the cutting room floor and swept away. You never hear about those who were skeptical of the narrative that was building.
It's because it's their network, it's their platform, and
exactly.
they control the story, and they never come into the broadcast and say like we're reporting the truth as we know it, or we are reporting the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Like truth has some sort of value factor, like that people just think of truth as right or wrong, but no, there's like a varying degree of grayness there. So
sure,
they're just telling the story and trying to make a narrative to for us to all just basically create the chatter and the chaos and go around in our circuits and create hot air. Just keep the hot air going. That's kind of
the chatter and the gossip and the hot air is part of it too. And so to, like you said, creating a conflict out in a foreign land, creates the chaos you need to build whatever it is you need to build. It sets the precedent, but it gives you the excuse to build whatever it is that you wanted to build in the first place. And then you can blame the stupid fucking monkey people who can't, get it together.
Yeah.
And then you go there and then they either die because they're going to your hospitals, or you just murder them slowly, or you let them spiral out of control into their own chaos. Because most people don't really have what it takes to find the beauty and simplicity of life just by stopping. It's there's an addiction to entertainment and stories and things like that. And I think I have a distaste for a lot of it now. Oh, and something interesting I learned going back to our buddies, the Freemasons, and we're just talking here and we're just speculating, and this is just a Breaking Wind dialogue show. But the Freemasons obviously have a relationship to the Jesuits and these churches and cathedrals and building a cathedral to put on a play. Dozens of traveling shows.
You broke up. Where'd you go? Retardica has left the studio. Are you there?
And
are you there? Are you there? Only your clouded vision prevents you from seeing that you are all beings of light. That's from chapter 2 of The Healing Wisdom of Mary Magdalene. Are you back?
I'm
you back. All right.
So the Freemasons go and build these buildings where the uninformed, illiterate populations can go and be entertained and hear the stories. And most of those stories came from the Bibles. And the Bible, the King James version of the Bible, around 1611, as we're told, King James, I didn't realize, was sort of an entertainer and a poet. And
he may as well have, or very well have, could have written that himself. That stuff.
Exactly, with the help of a couple of pieces of bacon and shake a spear at it.
When you write like Lord or the Lord God, that's just like referring to himself in the first or second or third person, or
righto. Yeah. And when you go to the Bible and you have just the first Genesis, first chapter of Genesis 1:1. Basically, you describe the creation, and that's it. It's kind of just a tip of the hat. They're like, all right, the source is here, but then the Lord God just starts with, this is where we took over and mimicked everything, and we built our infrastructure and built our choo-choo train sets and our internets, and so anyway, the entertainment, I didn't realize had such a direct connection to the guild of Freemasons. I mean, a Freemason could be anything, not just a bricklayer, but any trade, any guild.
It's just any union. Any craft. Yeah, it's
any craft. Yeah.
Yeah.
For some reason that came a kind of as a surprise to me. It's like I thought I already knew that, but then it was able to tie in the architecture with the music, with the entertainment, with the pop music that we have, to building a town to create an entertainment center for people to go and get the narrative, and then create the gossip and the controversy and the hot air. And then the next thing you know, you've got, Las Vegas or your next city. And the Canaanites, I mean, the whole thing, they were the builders of cities. I don't know if I have that exactly right, but Cain became the father of cities. And this seems to be, the people I was referring to before that sort of have an interest in harvesting.
Gone again. Hello.
Siri? All right.
Yeah, you're choppy today. Are you back? The ancient teachings stress that there is nothing that can be learned about them at the level of mind, where they remain as information. They can only be experienced at the level of the heart, where they become knowledge of the soul. Are you there, Retardica?
Yeah, I already knew all that stuff that you were talking about anyway.
Yeah. That's kind of like when I started reading this book. I was like, oh, I read this book already. I just fucking went and bought this the other day, and I started, like, the first 5 pages, or not even. I was just like, yeah, I could have written this book. It's either like, I grab a book and I start reading it, or like the first few pages, I can usually gauge, like, if I already, like, have a grasp of everything that it's going to say, or if, like, I could have written it myself, basically,
Yeah, now you know how old Uncle Retardica feels.
Yeah.
Not to say there's not value of going in there and chewing through it, but you got to pick and choose your...
Right, exactly.
You got to pick and choose your...
But getting back to it, you kept bringing up the, these locations, these buildings, and the architecture. The architecture, I think, plays quite a big role, quite a significant role. With the utilization of sacred proportions, and some of these proportions, like, actually induce a charge on them on their own. A good thing to check out. I don't remember what the fucking thing is. PVC pyramids or something.
Oh yeah, sure.
Like how to build like the pyramid in the sacred geometry, to help channel energy into you.
Yeah.
Remove the bad energy from you.
Yeah, I'm going to need a lot of PVC.
Yeah, well, like a lot of those angles just play a big part, and with those angles are the angles, angels, degrees.
Yes, of course, of course.
It's all the numbers, and you know how much they like their numbers.
Yeah. Well, and that's
And,
and numbers is just kind of how you account for everything over time as well. So uh, a lot of this encoding into the entertainment is kind of can be used as a way of keeping track of the pieces of the airplane after it explodes, so to speak.
yeah,
Or like when you lay the track from New York to Chicago for your railroad, every piece is going to be labeled and accounted for. And that goes back to people who have an affinity for blood, love to account for things.
yeah,
But my point at that time was I thought it was interesting that these people only show up where there are cities. Right? They
yeah,
don't seem to ever have any kind of history that involves farming or agriculture, or all of their behavior seems intricately woven into a city environment. It has to have something of charge, of value, to be calculated and manipulated. So it's kind of interesting that that's where these people will show up and then
yeah.
get kicked out of.
Yeah. Well,
uh,
yeah,
the
I mean, they're just feeding off that certain type of energy, so they're not
Yeah,
creative. They're just
yeah,
yeah, they're basically I guess how to say that. They're basically like the inductive loads, that we all have to energize that, because they're not pulling their own weight. So
yeah.
we got to get up a notch to produce enough energy for both of us.
Well, yeah, you're gonna carry your friend on your back,
Yep.
because he's just a little too tired.
Yeah, I'm not used to physical labor.
my, my thumb and forefinger is exhausted. Counting
Yeah.
all this filthy money.
uh,
And it would explain the nepotism within a urban environment, where you are you have a profession, let's say a doctor or a surgeon, something like that, and you get a referral to, let's say, your cousin who's a chiropractor, to get a report to send to your brother who's a lawyer. Yeah, you're creating, here it goes back. You're creating the chaos you need to justify your own existence. And then you blame the person you're taking advantage of. You blame the victim for,
yeah.
for creating the chaos that you instigated and provoked in the first place. And the way you provoke it is by applying too much pressure in too small a space, fucking with the money and
Yep.
making it of less value.
Yep.
That's when you pull the rug out from under people with the gold. You devalue the money and you let it coast for about 100 years, and then you got them right where you want them, which is
Mm-hmm.
pissed off, nice and charged, and then you just direct that charge to where you want them to go. And then if that's not working, you just change some rules and regulations to open up the borders to squeeze in some people to make it a little less comfortable. And cities are the perfect environment to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty fucking clever.
Yeah. It's they've had a long time to devise this system, and uh, yeah. I mean, there's no telling how many times we've done this before.
Oh, think about that. Like, really think about that. How many times before has this been done? And then just the with what ease and what value it is to erase a generation of history. You're completely lost at sea, and you can just keep going. I mean, how many times?
Oh, at least, I think the count, the Hopi count, the Hopi Indian count, I think we're in the fourth world. So,
yeah.
I don't.
Well, yeah.
Cycle, whatever the fuck they're talking about,
Like, whatever they're talking about. And these.
Their whole thing is basically walking around in circles, like the Indians, like they're just walking circles until like the God tells them like where they're supposed to squat.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm. Maybe I'm a Hopi. Maybe I got Hopi blood in me. Maybe that's what they want to squeeze out of me is all my Hopi blood.
Each tribe or all these different tribes like have their own like circular path that they just walk around in until I guess like they're on their pilgrimage until they find that I guess they're looking for the spot with the most subtle energy to get out of the ground or harness out of the surrounding environment.
Maybe there is where the elevator up is. That's what you're just constantly looking for the top floor. It just never. It's real difficult to lay too much trust at the feet of these historical narratives. Even the words like Indian is so. I don't even know what the fucking Indian would be anymore. You get this retarded story, Christopher Columbus with his. It's like,
were the Indians even real?
Yeah, it's crazy. Because I've gone into all those. I've gone into all those sort of rabbit holes where it would make sense that you just exploit the population that's there. You kill the ones who resist. It seems on the face of the earth, for as far as it stretches, there's people who are unfucked with, and then you need to go and fuck with them, create conflict, and then build one of these cities until God burns it down. And then you go, oh, my bad. And then you go do it again.
Well, their theory is that controversy equals control, so that's kind of like what they do. They create
in their world,
they create the controversy, and then they come in with their, whatever, their treaties, and then they break them first anyway.
It seems kind of obvious. And well, and it doesn't even matter if you figure it out, because what the fuck are you gonna do about it, tough guy?
Yeah, exactly. What is the ultimate recourse? You either rise up, get your own, fucking form your own army and fight, or you just take the path of least resistance and flow like the water.
That's it, man. When you get down to it, that's it. Water is such a great model because
it's many forms.
It takes many forms. Cue the Bruce Lee clip. But when you think about God, when I think about God, I think, oh, God doesn't really have any opinions. And then when I think about water, I go, oh, water always seeks its level, but it doesn't really have an opinion. Like, oh, this is too high, I need to go down there. Oh, this is too cold, so I need to get hard like this.
Yeah.
So when I try to articulate God in my mind without any attached story or influence from the outside, water seems to work really well. It does what it does when it needs to do it, or whatever. Always finds its balance. At 0 degrees Celsius, it freezes. At 100 degrees Celsius, it boils and evaporates.
Like you're saying, you're telling me all these wonderful properties of water, but we're made up of all of this water. So,
yes,
we have the ability.
So they say, right?
We have that ability to be just like it.
Yeah, well,
that's what the spirit is. I don't know if you heard those any of my last sound bites about like the Mother Mary, the Holy Mother Mary is the ocean. She is the sea. She's what makes us manifest. All that type of jazz. I mean, I fucking think
Sure.
that like a broken record for a long time.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the water that's in us, and we could definitely get more in tune with that spiritual flow.
Yeah, still the waters. Like that's I'm always searching for some method to deal with the chaos in my environment in the city. Walking around with a head full of these discoveries, and immersed in a population of people who haven't bothered trying to figure anything out, and it's frustrating. But then it's so simple to just quiet the pond, stop making ripples, and it really is the perfect metaphor for me. And it's surprising how often I'll lose it when the chaos kicks up, and I start to resonate more chaos in my life when I lose the idea that if I just stop from our first conversation, that's something you said, to stop muddying the waters is just be still.
Yeah.
It feels like that's not a possibility when you're being provoked on so many levels through noise or taxation or
they
neighbors.
it's just stuck on a circuit. That's if you're you're constantly going around in circles and stirring the pot. I think I did a video like what flavor is your spiral or something. I think I called it.
Okay,
I might
seem to recall.
Yeah, that's kind of like the gist of what I was getting at. Like we're all in our own little fucking worlds, our own little circuits of whirling around.
Sure, but fundamentally, we could all share that allegory of the water, using the water as a model to be able to follow the flow more frictionlessly, so to speak.
Yeah.
This is a fucking great meal you've prepared.
And I mean, water is everything. Like we were talking about. It's hydrogen and oxygen, and it's. It's. I think it really aids. Somehow the salt water is being purified back into fresh water, right? Whether it's like the evaporation and that type of thing. And then there's also what you would refer to as a bay. And
yes,
in these bays, the bay is basically like a seawater exchanger. Like the seawater meets the fresh water, and a lot of power is like generated with that exchange.
Well, that's great because that's the double funnel in action right there, where it's
right.
It's and being exchanged.
You follow the rivers. Like for example, I mean, I used to live in Bayside in Queens. I mean, that was right on.
Well, there you go.
I mean, you could just see like that's like that Bayside is the most culturally diverse city in, I think, the United States or something.
That is, isn't it?
Yeah, and then like up here, upstate now, where I live, I'm close to. I guess the Chesapeake Bay would be the closest one, and I'm pretty certain the Susquehanna River feeds off of that. And I know there was somebody on the Higher Sides chat talking about this, like with Loch Ness Monster and how it's really just a sine wave being propagated on the surface of the bay. during this exchange where you have a sorcerer that's basically pulling the energy out of the exchange of seawater and fresh water.
That's a great clue. And then you just apply that to all bays, and then you can start to see the system.
Follow the water. Like over here, the Chesapeake Bay, like I was saying, it feeds the Susquehanna. And then if you follow the Susquehanna down and you just see, like, when it hits my town, or, when it hits the town closest to me, that's like where IBM was for dozens of years, developing all of this technology. And I think that they take they're harvesting currents from the flow.
Wow. And then using the cloud, like you said, to store, transfer the energy. Another tie-in to why it might be beneficial to saturate low-level atmosphere with these big plumes of water.
Yeah.
Just, man, this is a good one, dude. Like, we've grown into our big boy pants with this episode.
You think?
Yeah, I like it. We just, you made the effort to provide a little structure so we could climb on the monkey bars.
Yeah, I should have slowed down with that. I should have broken up into
pieces. You're too critical of yourself. You do great. Everything you bring to the table is always right on time and perfectly mumbled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, like, going back to the first one off YouTube, No More Computers YouTube channel, all lowercase with spaces. Type it in exactly perfect, and you will find Mumbles' YouTube channel, and watch him paint. It's like watching you build the inner workings of your own mind. It's highly satisfying.
Yeah, that's what I keep trying to convey is you could basically have a direct channel to God, and it's inside you already. So it's you just need to find the plane of expression to get it out.
That's it.
And I said that at 4:44 p.m.
Boom.
Boom goes the dynamite. Yeah.
Well done. Well, I mean, you just nothing. You know nothing. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And when you basically the idea find the ego, find the self, realize that the self is nothing but a something that has been generated by you unknowingly in reaction to the material world that you were thrust into. You find it, you kill it, and then you're in the middle of nowhere. You still the waters, and that's when you hear the metaphorical
harmony
voice
of nature.
The harmony of nature, and for example, if you live in a city, you might benefit from, throwing some crystals around you and putting your PVC pyramid together and blowing some vinegar out of your humidifier up into the atmosphere. You probably benefit from that.
A Faraday cage at the minimum, if you're going to be
at the minimum. Don't forget to get the matching hat, jacket, and pajama pants.
Breaking wind style.
Yeah. But if you're in a state of dysfunction and your body is giving out, or there's just some sort of disharmony, if you just put yourself out in the middle of a forest by a river, things are going to start to make sense. You get on a beach, you get out into any kind of nature.
And they come from within most of the time, all these things.
It's a relationship for sure.
Yeah.
Like you start to recognize, like you said, you recognize it. Are you using a headphone?
No.
There's
Do
a
I
new.
sound good?
No, you sound beautiful. It's
Good.
there's a little crackle or a scrape or something. Is that me?
Yeah, I
No?
hear a scrape on your end.
No, I'm not scraping anything.
Well, maybe it's the book. I'm holding a book. Is that it? I was going to read a couple of underlined passages that I have in this one book that I just started reading this morning, and again, like how I was trying to say, like, once you start reading a book, it's like, oh, I fucking read this, or oh, I wrote this fucking book. I know what it's about to
Yeah.
say. I already know what it's about to say, and then
Yeah.
it unfolds, and you're just reading it, but it's usually better, better sought out or thought out anyway than what's
Right.
kicking around your head. But
Right.
so I just grabbed this book and I wanted to highlight a few of the things that called out to me.
Yeah. Well, go for it. That's what was making the noise?
Yeah, maybe I don't.
The scratch
So
noise?
on the inside of the jacket, all rights reserved. No part of this book may be reproduced in any form by any means. But skipping ahead, the human mind alone cannot find the way forward out of our human dilemmas. This means retraining the mind so that it can facilitate the love-based rather than the fear-based response. The solution is to become heart-centered and guided by the wisdom of the soul. This might sound a little familiar. I read some of these on one of the videos that was, but it was played at a high speed, so it probably missed.
Yeah, a lot of that got washed away.
Yeah. Soul teaches that the brain has areas of underuse because human activities have not been guided by the heart, but by the dominance of a conditioned mind.
So far, so good.
From the heart's viewpoint, words are vocalized sacred breath, expressing the eternally dynamic and interpenetrating aspects of the cosmos. In the classic of Taoism, the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu warns that language is a poor vehicle to carry a shift in consciousness, especially the shift in consciousness that connects mind with the heart and soul. The call was always to return to the wisdom of the heart, where soul reality reveals the hidden gems of meaning in the metaphors, similes, parables, allusions, and stories used by spiritual teachers. This enables it to be found when hidden because of adverse circumstances, or to encourage readers to abandon mind and seek the text's message via heart perception. It is essential to follow the promptings of your heart, not the urgent suggestions of your mind or the minds of others. Then each action and each intention can be an expression of the sacred. With surrender, there is nothing to seek and nothing to expect. You serve your soul by surrendering to life. By trying to control what you think life is, you are missing what life actually is. It is easy to make your body a tomb for the soul and your mind a prison for the sacred. To complete the paradox, I give you the thoughts of the Spanish poet Antonio Machado. He observed that no hay camino, there is no way, since the way is made by walking it. Like the birds, they do not know about tomorrow, but they give themselves wholeheartedly to getting on with what has to be done. Our pilgrimage is not so much a journey to travel, nor a hierarchical ladder to climb, but more like a circle to dance. The ancient teachings stress that there is nothing that can be learned about them at the level of mind, where they remain as information. They can only be experienced at the level of the heart, where they become knowledge of the soul. You can influence what is without by realigning what is within. Clouded vision. Clouded vision describes the way we perceive the world through the filter of our own conditioned minds. Learning how to access the heart center to perceive the world and to gain inner guidance is the process of removing clouded vision. The cloud is our conditioning, how we have perceived the world and how we have reacted to what we perceive. The cloud of conditioning determines the way we live our lives. Learning how to be heart-centered offers the determined practitioner an opportunity to break free from this conditioning. The things which I have seen I can now see no more. Whither is fled the visionary gleam? Where is it now, the glory and the dream? These are the heartfelt questions of someone who realizes that as the ego mind develops and becomes conditioned, it becomes a kind of prison house in which we can forget who we are, even though heaven lies about in our infancy. Trailing clouds of glory do we come from God, who is our home. As a newborn, we learn to breathe to begin our earth journey. The pilgrimage to heart-centeredness requires that we relearn how to breathe and how to relax the physical body. Our breathing should flow gracefully. To master your breath is to be in control of your body and mind. That's Tich Nhat Hanh, whatever that is. This is why the very breathing moment contains all possibilities. And those are just a few things. And like the first, I don't know, that wasn't even like in the first 17 pages. I got all of that. So
well, and like I know you and me have probably heard those principles so many times through our life, and still the application of those principles on a daily basis is the practice, you know.
It's like affirmations, you know. You got to hammer it home because nobody else is going to tell you this stuff. You got to
nobody
reread it and fucking find it all on your own, and you know, like that. Yeah, I mean, I've been listening to these like fucking like those Buddhist tapes and those you know, Dr. Suzuki, like, you know, audio books. Like I used to fucking go to sleep, you know, just listen to that all night long, sleep with the headphones on, have that shit all, you know, it's ingrained in me. I just can't retrieve the information.
But listen, going back to the naming of streets, like for example, in Philadelphia, every street is named after a tree. There's Walnut Street, I think, is the main street, and then there's Oak and Cherry and whatnot. And a lot of neighborhoods have that sort of layout. And having those words, or like the so-called Native American names and words in hamlets, repeated over and over again, embodying that charge. We don't have anything in our culture that I can point to that isn't in some way compromised or poisoned to remind me on a daily basis that, you know, be like water. I got a couple of Bruce Lee clips on YouTube I could look up. You know, I got my books on my shelves, and I got memories and things that I put into practice. But in a cultural sense, you're not getting reminded of these principles, and their simplicity is where their power lies. And
it's Shakespearean.
Well, it's Shakespearean.
Yeah, that's it's Shakespearean. Yeah, what you're describing.
Well, in what sense that it's not like these principles are not echoed in the culture?
Well, no, they are. That's all that goes. It's all that goes.
No, but I mean these principles that are like coming out of that book, like to remind you that your mind is a product of this system. You get reminded. It's the opposite. You're told that your mind is the the only thing that you have to succeed. And you're constantly fetishizing the mind and the control that you have over your environment. What I'm saying is like these more basic, gentle principles, like you're made of water, so behave like water, are not echoed in the culture. In fact, they're drowned out by the noise, simply because in those type of words and those type of ideas is embodied the idea of true liberation, which you can't profit from off in mass when they hear the creative principle, when they connect to the source, when they hear the whisper of God or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, what you said, the onus falls on you. The accountability is on you to get your shit together, man.
Yeah.
And it's great to watch. It's great to watch you do it in your way, what you share on your videos, and then the words that come out of your mouth on the breaking wind. And because I can cross-reference it with what I'm doing, and that's what's always been surprising to me, is that the number of people in the city. I moved to this city. One of the reasons I moved to this city was I was a scratch turntablist, so there was a population of people who are doing innovative things with records and turntables and sampling music, and basically they just all disappeared, and the hip hop culture became compromised, and then it became everybody wanted to sell out, where the thing was don't sell out. Now everybody wants to sell out, and even I moved to the city 20 years later. It took YouTube technology and cell phones to find a dude upstate with a bunch of farm animals. It's so crazy what a roundabout way to find these basic principles that should be easier to access, but they're not here.
Yeah, well, like I read that line. Let's see. The call of wisdom is to return to the heart, where soul reality reveals the hidden gems of meanings in the metaphors, similes, parables, allusions, and stories used by spiritual teachings. However, the message of love conveyed in sacred writings is protected by love. This enables it to be found when hidden because of adverse circumstances. So they're saying that the messages are there, protected by love, and they're hidden because of adverse circumstances, or to encourage the reader to abandon the mind and to seek the message via the heart. So I mean, some of the stuff, like you're saying, like the old age, axiom, or the the well-known stuff. Like, it's all from an era that is of very distant past when we're looking at our scope of time.
Yeah.
So.
Well, even I
think this stuff is still there. It's just
sure.
It's just more cryptic, and we haven't had as much time to think out what they actually mean. I mean, like that's kind of like you mentioned Kevin Janik there. Like I like what he does. You learn a lot. I learn a lot listening to him. He taught me stuff. But like no matter what he looks at, yes, you're gonna find your fucking 3,800 magnets, no matter what, because that's what God is. The God is in your mind, making all these connections for you. So like, what you want to see is what you're gonna see.
Well, I'm right on board with that. And even you get to a point where you're being inspired by these truths to get out of your mind and find it with your heart. I found myself abandoning a lot. Like, I don't bury myself in books or entertainment or in the teachings of another man. I just pay attention. I pay attention to my experience, and I see all the metaphors and the parables unfold fractally before me. And of course, I get interrupted and I'm weak because it's just this is a practice. It's a daily, it's a moment to moment practice. And there's times when I fully am immersed in my character, who I think I am, or the slave name I was given, or whatever.
Yeah.
Just because, me hungry. It's like it's that easy to forget that I and God are a participation of the exact same entity and principles. I just got to get a boner, and the next thing I know, it's all gone. And but it always keeps resurfacing, and more. It's just you sitting with you. There's nothing to do, so to speak. What was it you said? There is no way. It was that translation. There is no way. It's the act of walking it that creates the way.
You got to walk. Yeah, everybody's path is going to be different. So
yeah, and there's going to be the basic principles of the circuitry of the source that are going to resonate with different people using different customized techniques for getting through this experience. Yeah. But the details are completely fall on you, as it has to be. But yeah. I watched, man. Janik had such a there was a great playlist, man. He went through the astrological charts, and there was so much good stuff going on, and I hadn't ever heard of him. This was maybe a year ago, and I went back to the very beginning of where he started, and he shared a lot of private information as well with what he was dealing with his children. That was tied into his personal journey.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to have something. I mean, assuming what he's sharing is, legitimate, I take it like everything else. I take it like everything else.
He seems genuine enough.
Yeah, sure. So that was more entertaining to me, is to believe, just let it go, let it be, and then see it integrate into his system. And I saw how it was affecting or informing his calculations and his interpretations. And then it got to the point where he had done this so much work in the mind, that it has to manifest as a physical machine. It can't go any further. It's just on paper, and it's in his mind. And it's at the point, if he doesn't move to the heart, this is my interpretation, by the way. I'm not a fucking doctor here, but if he doesn't move his energy into his heart, he's
move it or lose it.
Move out of the way, buddy. Love it or leave it, champy. You leave yourself no other option if you stay in the mind, and on paper in the mind, and paper in the mind, and calculation and mathematical. There's no other option than to produce it mechanically, and you have to create this machine. So his drive, when I clocked out of watching, I can't remember at what point, I can't reference anything, but he had a model that was a plastic model that he had built, and it was in his window or something. He lives in Canada or something, yeah. And he was outside his home in Canada, and he had just gone past an address and crunched the numbers on the address, and was zooming in on this plastic model of his device that he wanted to build. It's sitting in the window of his apartment, second-story apartment, And at that moment, it just kind of occurred to me, it's like, he was talking, he's like, he needs somebody to give him what he needs, the financial resources or the material resources to build this device. And it just clicked. It's like, dude, you're just going to build a physical representation of what you are. Like, you're going to build I don't know what it is. It's like, and it just kind of occurred to me, and I couldn't watch any more past that. Not like in a negative way. It was like I couldn't garner any more information. But it was so familiar because I don't consider myself a control freak, and I don't think he's a control freak either. And I don't even know what that word means. But I find myself at times that I can't fucking let things go, and I watch shit manifest in my life, and I can't deny that I did it. Like, it's like, oh damn, I brought that person into my life.
Yeah.
Because I was chopping the waters.
Yep.
And that Loch Ness monster came up out of the briny deep, and tickled my balls, and it scared me. I was fucking with the primal forces of the double funnel.
Yes.
And I did atone. It's boy, it's a hairy ride, dude.
Yeah,
what's for dessert?
Nothing less than exciting.
No. Not.
Let's see. What do we have for dessert? What's on the menu? I don't know.
Well, we seem to really, well, I'll give you credit. You seem to have put together the unified theory that I've been so hungry for.
It's
cakes. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's never going to stop. It's ever moving. Yeah, it's ever flowing in and out. But I can envision in my head different levels of energy, whether it be blood or human traffic, or currency and money, financial systems, emotions. I mean, that's just 5 kinds of fuel I can think of right now, or rivers, infrastructure. I can see how there's motive. Is it motive? What is the words? What's something that motivates you? I guess the motive. There is a motive, and the motive in and of itself is kind of rooted in justifying its own continued existence by creating a sort of resistance, by creating competition in the circuitry. You're generating sort of a distraction or justification for your material existence. Let me ask you this. Here's a good dessert. What is the most efficient circuit?
What is the most efficient circuit?
Yeah. Would that be like
in regards to what, the human body, or
I don't know, just whatever pops out of your watermelon?
Well, the most efficient circuit would probably be just a single point of singularity.
Just life, yeah? I mean,
if that, yeah, there's nowhere for it to go, so it's just there.
That's pretty fucking cool, because then any manipulation of that is just gonna cause trouble.
Yeah, it's like going back to like the what do they call it? The Greek monad. It's just like the circle with a dot inside.
Oh wow! Is the symbol for hydrogen too?
Spirit. Like it's like, think of an olive with a spear going through it. Like if you look at an olive,
yeah,
like a olive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's like a circle with a hole in it, right?
Well, yeah. Well, man, that's so interesting. I didn't know that.
But yeah, so like that would be like the point of singularity, and then what is it to do? But I think the only thing it can do is invert on itself, and when it inverts on itself, it becomes a ring or like a toroid.
And that's where the trouble starts. And that's when that's when I start to get paid.
Right. That has nothing else to do but move on the face of the water, right? So that point, that singularity point,
yes,
now moves to the outside ring of the circle and has no other thing to do but then to like duplicate a circle, and then it just and that's then they you get the seed of life, flower of life, tree of life, and then once you get I don't know, what is it, 7 fucking circles now, or 13 circles, then you draw a circle around all the circles, and that's the perm, and that's that's the ice wall.
that's exactly what it is. And that's when you shipwreck.
Yeah. Yeah.
You better believe in icebergs. That's the only thing that's going to save your ass.
I have a lot of things I could get. My one grandfather, he was a Navy captain, and he did a couple of trips to the Arctic Circle and stuff. So I gotta try and like find like some sort of I know he had logs and shit, like things.
No way, really?
Stuff down in, and like we used to have my mom, like because my mother grew up like on like an air base, type of thing. So like my grandfather was always like active duty, and like her whole childhood. So like he would like go around with one of her socks and write down all the places he would
go. Wow.
Like so like the sock is like full of like all these fucking places that they went.
Wow.
And conquered and fucking invaded,
the theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and then on that side, I have some Swiss blood on that side also, so I'm trying to figure out some stuff. And then, like my grandmother on that side, she was the one that used to fool around with Whitey Bulger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No fooling.
Yeah, it's like a little family joke, I guess, that like my one uncle is Whitey's kid. Another story was like she was like at one point like engaged to be married to the chief of Bear Mountain at one time.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's all just bullshit that like
hard to tell, isn't it? You start to wonder about all the narratives, even when they come from your own family.
Yeah,
there's no telling.
Because she was big. She like my grandmother on that side. She was she loved Michael Jackson, and she went to Disney World every year.
Wow, it's just a long way from the monad.
Are they all fucking actors, or I don't know?
Well, we're all acting a role, and we don't even wake up to it. The mind takes on a life of its own, and then there's some people who never even question that there's a distinction between their name on paper and the physical person that they are. This is who I am. This is what I do. Love it or leave it. Love it or leave it.
Yeah.
The fuck. There's no idea of like, not necessarily self-improvement, but it's like I can't help it. in a way, I kind of admire that, and I wish I had that in me. I just like, yeah, I'm just the fucking guy who chomps cigars and hangs out in my underwear on my stoop all day. Fuck it. You deal with it. because I already I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I admire those people.
There's a lot. There's a lot that you could explain. You know, like I'm just guess I'm. You know, well, everybody has their own path, you know, and everybody's going to have different puzzle pieces, and we're going to share some puzzle pieces, and you know that. But yeah, you know, all the pieces fall together once you embark on this quest.
Well, it's fun when
you know, you'll see how intricately woven it really is.
It's fun when two farts come together in harmony to create the sweet smelling chord that is the Breaking Wind dialogues.
Yeah.
I have to say, this experience, from my perspective, is hard earned. No shortage of ass kickings did it take to get me down this far on the path.
Yeah.
To be able to just ping pong back and forth, speculation upon unfounded speculation. And yeah, I really appreciate being able to fumble through this stuff. And I gotta say, I commend you. You do a fine job. You're a weird dude, and you're still able to present complex ideas in a fun and easy to understand fashion.
I'm not stupid. I just play one on TV.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Mumbles Undertone McFlurry Breath the Turd.
Then, you know, my other grandfather, I don't know if I told you that he was the only operating engineer to be on the Trade Center project.
You've told me that.
He was the crane operator on the top of the towers.
He put the cherry on top. Did he know Aaron?
Yeah, well, he laid all the yeah. he laid all the vertical fucking steel. Like, it was you know, he was like the top fucking guy.
Unreal. Like, how do these things happen? You know,
a lot of intimate links. You know,
you could probably get yourself on the what do they call that? Like, whatever, the on the circuit, on the conspiracy interview circuit. Just come up with some good stories.
Yeah,
but, you know, kind of veil.
I got credentials, like, you know, like, yeah, my grandfather was this guy, or this grandfather was that guy.
Yeah, and then you just start speculating.
Yeah, hopefully these pictures are real and not being used out of context.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, like, really, if my grandfather broke into a construction site and his friend
Maybe he was just harvesting atmospheric electricity just enough to take back home for himself and his wife. You know? Just to wet my beak. Just wet my beak a little bit. Oh, Nazi attack time. Nazi attack time. Yeah. I love it. It's a little past. 20 past.
20 past, yeah. It's
Is that the conclusion? Is that the end of the show?
Oh, you know, we can keep going if you want to keep going. I just, you know, it seems like we were veering off course.
Yeah. Did you go? Oh, there you go. Is it copper?
That was copper, yeah.
You oiled the piggies.
Yeah, I oiled them up the other day. It was much needed.
They really are bald on top.
Yeah, it's really just happened over this past winter. They were just I don't know. They're living environment with like all the hay and straw that they use as bedding. I guess just made them fucking itchy, where they just kept scratching until they did that to themselves.
They're able to. They scratch themselves by like rolling over on their back and sort of wiggling around.
Like they'll go up to like big rocks or like tree stumps. Like
itchy, huh?
Yeah, they get itchy. Like it's like the same as human skin. It's the same. They get dried out and.
Sure. You ever give your pigs an enema? Could probably help with some of those that dry skin and that itching. If you really love your animals, you do feed them very well. I gotta say, when I watch you throw out all that delicious food to your critters, man, I get jealous. Those boxes, those number 2 boxes are awesome.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, it's always a good value,
Yeah, and it looks like fit for human consumption as well. Like you must score some really great stuff in there.
Yeah, it was last week or Monday, or when did I go? Tuesday. Yeah, it was a pretty good haul. But like they called me up, like I got my number on file with them, so they call me when they have.
They call you?
Yeah, they get stuff every day, so they call me up and say, "Hey, we got like a bunch of shit boxed up. If I come down and I buy it." But this last week there was some vultures trying to fucking swoop up my fucking deal.
I see.
I split it with the lady.
You got it. Other than that, it comes to fisticuffs.
I mean, it was a lot. It would have been a lot for me to fucking. I don't know if I'd be able to fit it all in the car. But a lot of it was potatoes and shit. So like the potatoes I have to cook before I feed the animals.
Right. Well, it looks good, man. I get jealous. I think maybe tomorrow I'll do my equivalent and run down to Union Square and see what I can grab. They do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday is the schedule. 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. I think, but usually by 4 p.m. All the good stuff's gone.
Yeah.
Get good local honey.
Yeah.
Are your bees going to come back, or once your bees shit the bed, it's over?
Yeah, they're dead. I mean, I got the hives are still out there. I was like, trying to attract some bears, but nothing's coming around. So I think bears are fake too.
Yeah, I'm sure of it. I mean, that's what's called a fact.
Yeah. I've had honey exposed and out in the open for well over 30 days now.
No bears.
No bears.
So once the bees shit the bed, new bees don't just move in. I guess it would be like moving into a condo with a bunch of dead bodies in it.
Yeah, I mean, if I clean the hive out, like if I got all the bee corpses out of it, like if I just leave the brood, what they would call the brood, where they like the oldest cells in hive, like where they keep the royal jellies and stuff, like that, I will probably attract more bees. Like if there's a neighboring swarm that's looking for a new house, or something can move in there. But the way they are now, they're just filled with dead bees.
It's not, the property value is
I gotta at least get the bees out of there, and I could just leave the honey or throw the honey. I don't know. I might still be able to use some of the honey.
No kidding.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's all fucking encapsulated in wax. It's just,
Yeah, but I thought you said the bees exploded.
Oh no, not in this instance. They actually just froze before they could explode from the shit buildup. So
all right, it's a goddamn horrible way to go.
Freezing or exploding full of poop?
Well, I think exploding full of poop is a little bit more, colorful.
Yeah.
Freezing's bad enough in itself, but then filling up with shit. But it's not that much different than the beehive we're creating.
No.
Yeah.
I just hope we don't all die in the end in this one.
In this one, well, it's like slow and steady.
Yeah.
One foot in front of the other. It seems there is no beginning, there is no end, but it looks like a lot of people shit themselves. There's a lot of shit on the way at the tail end of this story, it seems like.
Yeah.
But I like what we came away with, what I came away with this episode. I thank you for the effort.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, what? It was an effort?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just distracted. I was reading some notes here from oh man, somebody was doing some work on 1111, tying it to 430, and you know how like anagrams are just like spell casting.
Yes.
And, spinning and rearranging the letters to make new words or phrases.
Yes.
So like I what's another word for like a sorcerer or something like or a magician, like somebody that is casting a spell or rearranging the words to make words. And
an editor.
I figured that to be like a spin doctor.
Yeah, a spin doctor, sure.
And then now the Spin Doctors has a song called, What Time Is It? 4:30. And
okay.
The phrase "What time is it? 4:30? It's not late, it's early" equals 28 is 218 in single reduction. What time is it? 4:30. It's not late. It's early. By the Spin Doctors is 4440 in reverse Sumerian. Yeah, I don't know what I was going with this. Yeah, Spin Doctors is 44 in septenary cipher, or 144 in Jewish ordinal. The Spin Doctors, 77, Jewish reduced, or 369 in Francis Bacon. I kind of lost my trail here. I don't know what I was fucking scribbling about. But yeah, there's those things.
And you can experience these things in a more visual format.
Yeah.
First one off YouTube, No More Computers YouTube channel. Yeah, you really can't experience anything on Ghost of Retardica channel anymore, and my subscribers are dropping like flies. I'm not sure what's not sitting well with my 6 remaining subscribers. I don't know if it's the blatant advertising for the dialogue show. I don't know. I've done something wrong. How's your subscriber count?
Well, first one is still about 40, 41 strong subscribers.
There we go, holding strong.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really picking up.
I guess here's the plan. Tech Talk. Here we're gonna do a little breaking with Tech Talk. I think I'm gonna take. How about I take this episode, and then I'll log in the next day or two. I got a liver flush tomorrow, so I might not do it tomorrow. But go in there, add some tags, make some. What else can you do? You can hashtag it. You can put the tags in there. I can put the title. What should we title this that would be of interest? Like we focused basically on one topic today, which was unique. How do we describe that? Infrastructure, energy infrastructure? That's not very fun. Breaking Wind, episode 11, energy infrastructure.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know what it's kind of like everything we talk about is like once you try to label something, it's
well, just got to put a sign above the door just to let people know it's a hotel and not a slaughterhouse. So
all
they
right.
can.
Well, maybe you'll find something out of this sound bite.
Oh boy, you're gonna give me a bunch of word salad to chew through. Go for it.
I don't know if I read this.
My mouth is open. Just start shoveling.
To write you a word picture, not I, envy on up as oil under N. Ointment you anoint, Uncle Oliver N. Yod unpacks oblique, two inkwells. Youth adjoined uses omitters, yogurts, and Maoisms, true cows. I, edgy, noun, oratist, unkempt, N. Moiety, sound, noia, unkept. To write you a word picture, not I, envy on up as oil under ointment, you anoint, Uncle Oliver, Yod unpacks, oblique, two inkwells, youth adjoined, use, omitter, yogurt, Maoism, true.
I got it.
I think
anatomy of the shit show.
Anatomy of the shit show. I think each line was an anagram for something else.
Oh boy, this is like one of those dreams that you wake up from, but you're still in a dream. I was dreaming about the spin doctors, and it was all right. It was pretty groovy there for a while, but now I have ointment all over my body. I just want to leave.
Yeah, I don't know what those are anagrams for, though. I know that's not what they are. I know that's what they are.
You don't leave a trail of breadcrumbs as easy to follow, Mr. Mumbles. You make notes that in and of themselves require deciphering.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like that way I can kind of get into perspective of my heart and try not to let the mind run too many directions at once and just
I hear you.
Kind of like first impressions type of thing, like
that's exactly right. I love that explanation.
Go with that gut feeling,
Well, it's funny you should say that because I think even getting out of the mind, going beyond the heart and going into the small and large intestines, I think the gut harbors a lot of more intelligence than it's given credit for. Intuitive intelligence. There's stuff to be explored there, but I ain't got the neurons for it right now. But maybe we could jump off from there the next time. Maybe we'll talk about guts and food and physiology and anatomy and diet, and sure we can work in some poop jokes.
More numbers too.
Oh yeah, we love numbers.
Yeah. Here's a little
Oh yeah, go for it.
Cap it off. Pi keeps you trapped in circles. That statement equals 314 in English ordinal.
You did a video on this, didn't you?
I might have. Or it's 999 in primes, which is a duo of 1413, which backwards is 3141. But yeah, like I was doing some other work this morning on the nines again. B9.
I saw that was interesting. I enjoyed watching that happen.
So yeah, I'm still trying to put it all together, but pi I think is just really just 3. You know, I think you could just use 3 in place of pi and get just as accurate of a result.
I think your life would be a hell of a lot more simple if you did that. More people did that. I think things would be a lot better.
Yeah,
there was a video. Get rid of the 0.14 and the whole mess at the end. Who needs that trouble?
Throw the decimal expansion in the garbage.
I'm with you, man. There's something to be said about. This is a little on topic, I guess. Is the 10 base system, like going back to the Great Orient of Japan again. They're born, grow up, learn, function in their daily life as sort of a 10 base system where, you have centimeters, milliliters, all of these things that you measure with in your daily experience put you in a mindset that's more in harmony with the source, so to speak.
Yeah.
And even the kanji and the way that they number their money, the yen is based on 10 base system. I don't know how to say this, but you are what you eat.
Yeah, and what you are.
I'm burning out. I'm preparing for my cleanse again.
Oh yeah.
The first one wasn't as productive as I expected, but that's kind of a common result, is that you're not going to release a lot of stones the first time. But I've been preparing all week by eating an even simpler diet than I'm used to, with less oils and nuts and very, very simple palate to choose from. And you're supposed to drink apple juice or cranberry juice, something high in malic acid. Tart cherry juice seems to have the highest amount of malic acid and the lowest amount of sugar. It really does something to your energy levels. I sleep better, and I wake up. I'm in bed by 10 now. I just can't. I usually used to stay up till midnight or 2, just doing projects or reading.
Yeah.
And now, as soon as the sun starts to go down, my energy starts to match it. My function starts to go down, but I wake up. You're an early riser, so you're sort of used to that. I've always been a night owl. You have no choice. Yeah,
something's fucking waking me up. Usually, it's the donkeys fucking blasting off with this, first, and then, it was the roosters. Like, it used to be like really bad when we had the four or five roosters. It was just fucking constantly like I wouldn't be able to sleep. Like I hear them like from outside, like they'll be locked in their coop, a few hundred feet. I still hear them motherfuckers while I'm trying to sleep, So
wow, so it's really not a choice.
They used to like start at like 3 or 4 in the morning, like usually an hour before sunrise. A good hour.
That's amazing, man.
But now we're down to two roosters, so it's a lot more quiet. But
yeah, they still make their fair share of noise.
Hank usually sounds off around 5:30. Wakes up the neighbor.
Oh man! Oh man!
Vivi's usually like jumping. She goes from like my side of the bed to the wife's side of the bed, like trying to wake one of us up.
Man, there's no shortage of activity in that house.
Oh no, it's always something to do.
Yeah, man. That is really.
Unfortunately, I don't get paid for a lot of it.
Donkeys don't pay well.
No. I'm going to be one of them people that put all the assets in the donkey's name.
Well, I think you're gonna have to.
I'm just an employee for Hank.
Hank Co.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm looking at the calendar. I made a mistake for my first liver flush, and your body will hold on to toxins and stones and things if you perform a flush on a full moon. I didn't know that. You want to perform purges on a new moon, or at least in between the new moon and the full moon, but not within the first few days before or after a full moon. Have you noticed? Well, let me lead in with this. We both got pretty art-tarded on the same Saturday, which was a new moon. Were you in your basement barefoot doing a little art project? Your big canvas.
I was walking on the canvas.
Yeah, walking on it. And you're smearing it and spilling it and slipping it and slapping it. And, that was around 6 p.m. You said. For me, it was around 4:45 p.m. Same day, Saturday. It was a new moon.
It might have been the same time. I don't know what time it is where you're at. But...
Oh, well, that's interesting. Well, right now, no, we're on the same time. It's 5:45. So.
So we're on the same.
Nevertheless, have you noticed with your animals any different behaviors from a full moon to a new moon?
That's a really good question. I gotta pay attention to that more.
Stumped you.
Yeah, I don't really.
You don't get the time to really.
I always notice when there's a full moon because I'm always the one I out there fucking staring up at it like an idiot.
Right.
I don't know. As far as I think really the season has a lot to do with it, whether it's winter or summer.
Oh yeah, of course.
So I guess I really haven't had this whole dynamic for I guess we're going on 3 years having all these animals like this. So
the experiment is still in progress.
I haven't really seen like patterns forming yet. I noticed today playing with Vivi, like when we're playing fetch, like as soon as I'll throw the ball, she'll grab the ball and run with it all the way back until I change my intention to picking up another ball, and then she drops it. I'll make I'll try to make no movement, and as soon as she knows that I'm going, I thought of the other ball, she drops the first one. It's we're kind of sharing the same thought,
Yeah, manimal. You're doing some good research out there, brother. I gotta say, and I can tell through the comments on your videos when you do feed your crew, toss them some number 2 vegetables. I can tell it has an effect on not just me, but other people watching.
Yeah, I hope
So,
it,
it
makes everybody feel a little bit better. Maybe, I don't know.
yeah, you're putting the good shit out there.
Give people hope.
Yeah, and it does. And I was thinking about these breaking wind dialogues. I said, I really wonder for the feedback and for the comments that we do get. It is encouraging. I gotta say, it's always nice to hear from people, especially when they actually listen and then make a comment based on the topic or something like that. Because we're all trying to figure this out, and what you can figure out, I can't figure out. It's a good immune system. It's like it's nice to get some input. And I was thinking, what for all the people who listen that don't make comments, I wonder what we have done to them, because you can't help but go through your day and kind of have something pop up into your head.
Yeah, like if you listen to this, then we got to be invoking some sort of reaction.
Yeah, and I'm hoping it's something that God would be proud of. But your videos with your animals and throwing cheese at your dogs, it's doing much more good than a lot of the videos that I watched, prior to knowing about you. And I can see in the comments, like,
I'm just one guy.
Well, that's all it takes, man. Well, I think that's the thing.
Imagine if I could clone myself, like how I wanted to build my own crystal grid. Like, I have so many ideas, so many things that I want to like build and do and create, and like, like a lot of them really just go as far as me just saying the idea of what it is, like, well, shit, I had a good example. Oh, another show, yeah. Conversational art centerpiece conversation. So, the conversational art centerpiece conversation, but like center meaning like heart, art, like a conversational art. But it's a art, conversational art. So it's like the males talking, art centerpiece conversation.
Well, it sounds like you just had it.
Yeah. Oh, they're not. They're fed. That was referring to the, we said something last week, like everybody's fucking starving despite, feeding themselves. Like, yeah, they're just stuffed. They're not fed.
Yeah.
What else was I doing?
Well, you're feeding the masses with your wisdom.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out the difference between entertainment and entrainment. And as far as I could figure, is about the only difference is about 3/4 of a turd.
Yeah. That's all right. One of you is enough, man. You figured it all out. If there was more of you, I think it would be just too much information to digest.
Yeah. I mean, I think like I kind of like, I was in the crown chakra, for a while, and then like you rise and fall. It's like cycles, So like each time you get kicked off the mountain, you're gonna climb back up and be have a more solid footing the next time you're up there.
And you're gonna be more muscular.
Yeah,
with a longer beard.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Well, and then depending on if it's a new moon or a full moon. you'd be better informed as to what's fueling you or what's working against you. Because I know planting seeds or propagating seeds, you want to do it. I don't know if you do it on a full moon or a new, but it's some old farmer's almanac shit.
Yeah, I really got to get more honed in on all that stuff.
For sure, with all that dirt up there, man, you gotta be taking those seeds and sticking them in the ground and just see what happens and playing around.
Yeah, I want to start trying to make this like some sort of like diverse ecosystem. But I gotta protect anything I plant. I gotta protect it because my animals fucking destroy everything.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And no fence is strong enough.
No.
Yeah, the
roof fence. Roof fence gives them a run for their money, but it's not the end all be all type situation.
No, it's not, is it?
No.
Well, you might have to hire Blackwater.
Well, yeah, I was thinking of selling my roof fence idea to Trump.
Yeah, well, I mean, it gives the impression that it's a wall, and I think that's really all we need is an impression of a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as people believe they're enclosed in something, the job is done.
Yeah, it's like putting a ring or a circle of salt around like the scorpion or something, right?
Yeah, something like that. That'd be the first time I've done that, but yeah. Or it's like
just put a white line. Like why don't they just put a fucking white line or a double yellow line in between? The two countries. I mean, it works so well.
I'm telling you,
the roads are nothing but a shining example of the order and rule. Following rules. So,
yeah, well, that's for sure.
Double yellow line is all they need.
Well, in the 80s with Ronald Reagan, they put space satellites way up there in the sky. They could shoot laser beams down onto the enemy if they acted up. That's another form of
yeah. I mean, the problem is from up, that far away up in space, you can't really tell the brown ones from the white ones.
Well,
so they face that.
You gotta. Well, the best story wins.
Yeah.
So, fucking, if it's not giant explosions that destroy entire populations, then it's Cold Wars. And if it's not Cold Wars, it's Space Wars. And if it's not Space Wars, it's probably the next one in line is like geoengineering death plumes from above.
Water Wars is coming.
Water Wars starring Kevin Costner.
Yeah, that should be the next episode, Water Wars.
Fuck.
All the signs and all of the quote-unquote predictive programming, if predictive programming works the way it does, then the predictive programming is telling us to invest in water.
Yeah, three quarters of a turd, my friend. 3/4 of a turd. But yeah, you can, once you get a hold of the script and you reverse engineer it, you can go back about 80, 100 years, and then you fast forward back to now, you go, oh God, I got it. So now it's going to be this, and then it's going to be that. And then it's like the, what's that, Illuminati card game? Illuminati card game.
Yeah.
It's like gaming. It's what it is. It's a big fucking game.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Everybody draws parallels to that Game of Thrones show, but I've never seen it.
I've never watched it, thank God.
Yeah,
See, That's one of the benefits of just not following that stuff. Most people's conversations always lead back to a metaphor from a movie or something they saw in South Park or Simpsons. I don't even, it's like, no, it's not like the fucking Simpsons. It's like, there's a piece of shit on the ground. And it's like, and we live in it. That's what we're talking about. The real shit right there. Like, anyway.
Well, I don't know. I watch a lot of garbage shows still, but nothing like, not like Game of Thrones. Like, I'll still watch like, Workaholics, or It's Always Funny, or It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Those ones, yeah.
Like classic, like my old favorite movies, like, Back to the Future, Groundhog's Day, like, Stanley Kubrick shit. I just...
Sure.
But I'm like, I did do some cinematography in high school, so I like, I don't know. I just like that type of stuff, like something with a good narration really speaks to me. Like that show on Netflix, Arrested Development.
Oh, okay.
That show is just fucking jam packed full of fucking, golden nuggets of truth.
Well, you
just got to find them. You got to have the eyes to see.
Well, you're a poet, and I didn't know you had a cinematic background, but that really makes sense.
Well, it was one semester.
Like, one semester. Well, whatever. We got to get you that. We get that Mac Tower back. What was that thing?
The iMac.
The iMac. We got to get you your iMac back so you can start.
I can make
putting together some cinematic doozies.
I can make some good shit. But then, that brings me to a whole another ball of wax. Like,
oh boy,
like the internet and internet censorship. Like, a lot of people are only like getting like the one side of it, like, censoring the stuff that's on the internet. But there's a whole other side of the coin where there's people that have court orders and like orders of protection that keep them from going onto the internet. So that's
yeah. Wow.
Talk about also one day.
Boy, that'd be great. So I even forget what we were going to talk about. The next one we were going to talk about anatomy and the body and food and digestion and things like that. And then internet censorship and the different. Boy, that's so true, man. Because I got nothing. The word bag is fucking empty.
I know at least 2 accounts of people being locked up for Facebook posts. Not including like internet people. I got real life people that.
You know them personally?
Well, I was in jail with one of the guys. That was
no
stupid shit that he fucking wrote on somebody's Facebook page, and then
man, another reason to stay away from all that horse shit.
Someone my wife works with had the same type of occurrence, where they got fucking arrested for violating an order, using the internet or some shit.
Well, I've seen this with dudes online. Speaking of Kevin Janik and his personal life, there's other guys online who get into situations where their children are taken away from them in the middle of a divorce, and their wife will press charges against them and push whatever paperwork needs to be pushed, that if they even send an email to them, that it can be considered harassment or trespassing or something like that. And you can have sheriffs and SWAT show up at your little cabin out in the middle of the woods, and it can really put a hurting on your fucking mental state, man.
Well, not if you don't have a zip code.
Well, if you don't have a zip code, that's a whole nother bag of beans.
Get rid of that zip code. Send some campaign contributions to your local sheriff. Enter a contract with him, making him aware that you are aware of his oath of office. and that is a binding contract you have with him. And that way, if he does come onto your property, you can sue.
Yeah. Well, you heard it here first, folks. And if you got a piece of crystal in your pocket and, you know, a good set of lungs, you can climb up to a mountain and tap away on the top of a stone, and then climb back down and go to Big Bend, and you can activate all kinds of interesting effects on the Vatican and the Pope's behavior. Or fucking whatever. That's that fucking clown.
Next week we'll discuss diplomatic immunity and citizens' arrests on public officials.
Well, here you go. You're witnessing in real time the downfall of the Breaking Wind dialogues.
Yes. And remember all of those contracts that you entered into, nobody ever told you they were in English. So be sure to read between the lines as well as the words.
and I know all of this is legit.
Yeah, that's fucking a whole nother language they're giving you. It's called legal.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I'm not passing the bar. You'll never get me to do that.
Yeah, no.
I
was thinking about taking the test just so I could, like, you know, at least get invited to the club. But,
oh yeah. Well, as long as we keep talking, I'm sure somebody will come and pick you up someday.
Again.
You know, all they got to do is follow the cry of the rooster and the hee-haw of the donkey, and well, he can't be far.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, you want to wrap it here or what?
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay. I'm clocking out.
Yeah, no, it's I think we got a good 2 hours packed of some useless information. So,
well, I think at the beginning I think we jam packed the peanuts on the front of this Snickers bar.
Well, that's how I don't know. I have a short attention span, so that's kind of like why I speed up all of the fucking things that I read, because it's like by the time you get a point across, it's like you forgot the first half of the fucking sentence.
Sure. Well, we're getting our sea legs here. I like it.
Yeah.
And I'm always a better man after these shows than I was the moments prior.
Yeah.
Perhaps more confused, but better informed.
The confusion just means that your brain's working. So,
which is bad news for my heart.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mums.